But I do want to talk about like how dedicated you guys are to this whole project. If people don't know, this was actually going to be built on, Ethereum, and you guys made the switch to Solana, and the dedication that takes is crazy. If you guys maybe want to talk about that,
Yeah,
um,
so
yeah.
I'd say before we get into that, I'd like to say that we started out by working behind the scenes for many months. I believe it
Hmm.
was 8 total before we even, or I think it was 6 total before we went public with it, like made the Twitters and stuff and the Discords, and
Right.
then it really showed how much we all wanted it, and it shows in our product, it shows in our team's effort. It really shows like how much we wanted it based on how like we didn't have the Call of Duty Activision budget, but it made us creative and crafty and allowed us to work incredibly smart with what we had, and doing so it allowed for a in turn better game. And so I would say that when we first originally started out on IMX, we were tantalized by the fact that it was a zero gas market or a zero gas place. So once you bought the NFT and you could trade it player to player with no gas, and so it
Right.
made sense as a blockchain game for to use them for that purpose, to switch wallets and stuff like that, switch assets through wallets. But we weren't able to use the IMX API directly into the game. So it was actually prompting players to use a browser. And in
Mm,
turn, that would make you leave the game. And we actually would, you want the players to stay in game.
of
You want
course.
that UI to be directly in game without them leaving or promoting a browser. And so Solana actually, we met an advisor, 3D Gamer Guild, so shout out to them, and we met up with them, and their leader actually gave us some really good advice and said that all of our problems that we were facing on IMX would be solved almost immediately with Solana. And lo and behold, he was right. I mean, not only did we get incredible feedback from the community, but we were able to implement those issues that we were having in IMX that we spent months developing. We were able to fix within 3 days, and so it was just absolutely crazy. And I mean, it really showed that it really was a moment of victory for us, like just glorious, like accomplished. We felt amazing that it was finally working, like how we wanted it to be, how we had envisioned it for these last 8 months. And so it's been wonderful having this huge explosion of people coming into our Discord, joining our socials, having the sellout mint, wanting to play the game, and wanting to come back for the updates and come back for more.
Yeah, and I mean, just on that same point that Patrick made, it wasn't even just obviously on the technical side, it was the APIs and
Hmm.
the SDKs that weren't compatible with Unity software, essentially. Um, and that was a huge hurdle. But also, it just seemed like we were struggling very hard on the marketing side, right? So for a platform like Immutable X, there's no hate to them. We did have an official partnership with them, for a little bit there, and they tried to help as much as they could on the technical side. But from a marketing standpoint, it was almost impossible to do outreach. I think Immutable X is probably 8 to 12 months away from really being able to produce a product that we wanted to produce. And it was just very hard to bring onboard people. We didn't just have to onboard people to crypto. We then had to onboard people and walk them through, basically hold everybody's hand through the process of connecting to a layer two, how to get your
Right.
Ethereum onto a layer two, and how to actually do transactions and all that kind of good stuff as well. So it was just this huge onboarding issue that we faced as well. And when we would do these massive marketing campaigns, people weren't really paying attention because they didn't understand how to use it. Now, that's not to say like if you can't, if you have to teach somebody, give up. But it was just that extra hurdle that when we moved to Solana, we did not have, right? We had this
Right.
huge explosion of engagement. Our engagement spiked, I think, 500 and something percent within the first 7 days we were moved to Solana, which was absolutely huge. And then just, I don't know, it was just kind of ridiculous how fast we started growing. And that's just a testament to Solana as a whole, I would say.
Yeah, I think Solana, you see it in a lot of communities, or the games communities in Solana, is they're just super strong. And I think the Solana ecosystem is just super strong as a whole. It just feels like the place to be. So I think that was the right move that you guys made. It just makes sense. And being frictionless is always the way you want to move when you're trying to, build something great and build something for the next 10, 15, 20, 50 years, It's just a really smart move.